No other city in the Sun Belt better typifies the rapid growth in the South than Atlanta, Georgia. Gaining in both population and industry, Atlanta is also home base for a wide variety of tourist attractions. The best known, Stone Mountain, bearing one of the world's most famous sculptures. Surrounding the city of Atlanta are the rolling Georgia hills, the pastorally quiet countryside. Except when championship drag racing comes to Atlanta International Raceway.
The Deep South has waited a long, long time for their first ever NHRA National Championship event. And what a treat this crowd is going to get here today outside of Atlanta.
When you race as hard as this just to make the show, problems can occur. But don't worry. At the Southern Nationals, you can wait until dark to try again. But then you may have even more problems. But an overflow crowd is not jammed into Atlanta International Raceway to watch problems. They want to see the hard-fought battles leading to a champion at the Southern Nationals.
Great story developing here. It's long been rumored that IndyCar star John Andretti would drive baseball star Jack Clark's Taco Bell Top Fuel car. They debuted here, qualified well, and in round number one, it was two Italian race car drivers from Pennsylvania, and the result might surprise you. John Andretti didn't know if he won or not. You certainly did in your first ever contest. You take out the five-time champ. He's not pleased.
Well, I mean, I didn't know if I won or not. I didn't see him, but, you know, you never know. I was just happy that I got down there, and, you know, I'm just really pleased. I mean, the Taco Bell crew has done a great job, so I'm really pleased.
They really have. And Joe Amato, he told you last night that he had a hard time staying in his own lane in IndyCar racing.
Yeah, I was worrying about him coming over and trying to squeeze me a little bit. That's what he said. If I was ahead of him, he was going to try and squeeze me out.
Good addition to the sport, though.
Yeah, I think so. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
And boy, does Joe Amato handle defeat well. That's a class act.
Pro Stock provides some of the closest competition in NHRA drag racing. The world champion Bob Glidden on the far side, Tony Christian on the near side. As Glidden inches up to the line, there's the lights. Both come away fairly even off the line as Glidden drives it all over the track, and Tony Christian goes on for the win with a 7:56, 183 miles an hour as Glidden has to give it up.
As we watch the replay, we see that Glidden had a slight starting line advantage as the tree turned green. But that didn't stay there very long because evidently we either had a drivetrain problem or he hit a little slick spot, because notice the car makes a violent move and Glidden has to get out of it, because those Pro Stocks, I'll tell you what, they're a handful when they go sideways. And Glidden knows better than anyone else that you don't drive those Pro Stocks when they're acting up like that.
I'm sure, too, he remembers that accident at this very track 2 years ago. Well, Joe Lapone does his burnout as he's ready in Pro Stock round number 2 to face Reed Wisnett. And right in the center of Wisnett's car is the Camera Technologies Diamond P Sports onboard camera. There's the view, Don Garlitz, as the cockpit fills up with smoke from the burnout.
That's just what you get. The smoke comes in there from the wheel wells and it makes the vision a little blurry.
At the far end, Steve's with Tony Christian.
Anytime you defeat Bob Glidden, no matter the circumstances, it brings a smile to your face. Tony Christian, great job.
Thank you. That made my day.
7:56.
7:56. It's got to go a little bit better, I hope.
I know there's a friendly banter that goes on between you and especially the Glidden boys. What's that all about?
They're just good kids. We get along good. I like them.
He had some handling problems. For sure he did.
It's too bad.
Oh, yeah. He's just crying all the way back to the pits, isn't he?
Tony Christian referring to Bob Glidden's sons, Rusty and Billy.
In round number 2 of Funny Car Eliminator, and this is Billy Meyer, owner of the Texas Motorplex, racing against John Force from Yorba Linda, California. Force winning his first round race in the Castrol GTX Oldsmobile against Jim Head, while Billy Meyer drove his cheap auto parts Ford Tempo to a big win over Raymond Beadle at the wheel of the Blue Mac. Both drivers creeping into the light beams that go across the starting line. They turn on a light at the top of the Christmas tree, indicating the cars are in the proper position. The drivers are set and ready. Then starter Buster Couch throws the switch, and if all goes well, a green light starts for both cars. And Billy Meyer leaves first, but John Force is right alongside of him. An explosion for Billy Meyer. The body's off the car. Meyer coming out of the engine. Meyer fighting for control. The chassis without a body spins out, and he brings the car to a stop. Meyer climbing out of the car. As the wreckage remains in the center of the racetrack, he calmly...
I don't know what happened. Obviously, it went out there and it did its normal deal, and it nosed over, and I shifted, and I was ahead of him. I'd already driven by him.
And kaboom.
And surprise, yeah. It's not fun. This is the 4th time this year, especially when you're not finding the problems.
That's right. But there seems to be a rash of this going on, and no one seems to know the problems.
No, that's true. That's true, and it'd be nice to find them out. I'm getting tired of buying bodies. I told Salvin I put their name in lights. I didn't mean it that way.
Thanks, Billy. No one has the attitude of that young man.
Congratulations to the whole Shoemake family and to Johnny Loper, as here it is, Top Fuel Finals. The world champion, Shirley Muldowney, against the national champion, the wheeler-dealer, Terry Cap, from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Atlanta, Georgia, their meeting ground. And in just a few seconds, we'll know who will be the first ever NHRA Southern Nationals Top Fuel champion. Shirley taking the left-hand lane, the lane nearest the camera. She feels it maybe just a little bit better. She had the choice. Boy, Terry Cap was a whole lot late. And it is so close at the finish. The crew knows it by the wind lights. Shirley Muldowney wins it 5.95 seconds. Her speed over 234 miles an hour. But for Terry Cap, it was a very expensive driving lesson, as he recorded an elapsed time that was quicker. Each lane a separate racetrack as far as the timing devices go, and you'll see Shirley Muldowney winning it by 0.04 of a second. Really something, Steve.
I know, the lady did it again. The most incredible reflexes in the sport of top fuel drag racing. But what's so astounding, and I have to repeat it again, she has now won 4 out of the last 5 NHRA National Championship events. The only one she missed, the opening race this year, the Winter Nationals. David, a lot of excitement down here, but it's winding down. Shirley Muldowney now concludes this first inaugural NHRA Southern Nationals with a beautiful hole-shot victory over the national champion, Terry Cap.
Everybody, I'm Dave McClelland, and welcome to the new Atlanta Dragway. The weather today is absolutely magnificent. This crowd is overwhelming this facility, which has seen some marked improvements over the winter. A brand new racing surface, including concrete starting line pads, is the highlight of the improvement program, and that new racing surface proved tricky for many competitors. It was Butch Leal against Frank Sanchez. They were paired up in qualifying. After the 2 cars went through the timing lights at the far end of the racetrack, Sanchez in the near lane lost control. The car overturned, and Leal had to make a choice. Rather than run into Sanchez, Leal turned left and hit the guardrail instead. Both drivers were uninjured. Leal described for us, from his perspective, what it was like.
Well, what happened is that we were running down through the quarter mile here at the Southern Nationals, and I pulled the chute out, and the chute came out, and I looked up, and Frank was right beside me, and I noticed the chute didn't come out, and the next thing I know, he looked like he hit the brakes to me, and sort of got it sideways, and the wind caught it, and next thing I know, it's upside down right in front of me, and I got to get in the left lane, and I tagged the guardrail and destroyed my car, and looked like I'm out of the race. I got a car at the shop, but it's about 12 hours home and 12 hours back, and we're going to see if NHRA will let us get the new car, or our old car, and bring it back and try to get it and run in this race. This is our sponsor's race, and we're running pretty well here, and we just have to see what happens.
Rather than get the old car, Butch Leal borrowed the Pontiac Trans Am of Pat Busey. He installed his engine and complete drivetrain, re-qualified the car, but in round 1 racing, lost to Reed Wisnett. In another qualifying pair, it was 2 Pontiacs, Chuck Ekmalian in the far lane, James Antoinette in the near lane. Very quickly into the run, Antoinette drifted towards the center of the racetrack, lost control, the car flipped over on its roof, and burst into flame. The fire was contained primarily in the engine compartment, and the NHRA Safety Safari crew was quick on the scene. Meantime, Antoinette was inside the car, attempting to exit under his own power. As we watch this accident again, Antoinette had gotten very close to the center line. That portion of the racetrack and the outside edge out of the racing groove is a little bit slick. As I pointed out to you earlier, this is a brand new racing surface, and it is not quite cured yet. A number of racers, including James Antoinette, who was uninjured in this accident, were having problems with it.
The car just went towards the center. I corrected it. I felt it was going to go straight, and all of a sudden, this car's is fast. That's the only thing I can say, and things happen so quick. You know, it's my first national event, and I had some practice with the car, but I guess I didn't have enough.
Drag races. You know, just those few minutes that we were gone, the strangest thing happened. The sun went down, it rained 1.5 inches, the sun came up again. All the fans left, all the racers left, except for our finalists in Top Fuel and Funny Car. What I'm trying to say is, for you, it's today. For Brock and I, it's tomorrow. No, that's not right. For Brock and I, it's today. For you, it's yesterday. Now, forget it. Let me ask you a question. Would you sell a used car to this man? Well, Gene Snow did, and may live to regret it today, or tomorrow, or yesterday, whatever day this is. Dan Pastorini bought this car from Gene Snow back in February of 1985. Snow had campaigned the car hard all of '84. Snow had bought it from the Kilpatrick and Cannell team, who campaigned it with Richard Tharp as driver in 1983. You may remember it was a beautiful red car. Now, it looks a little different. It's because Dan had to raise the roll cage to accommodate his 6'5" frame. I guess you could call this a low-mileage, clean, 3-owner automobile.
Oh, a couple of old pals racing here. Remember, Gene Snow said that he signed Dan Pastorini's Top Fuel license. You have to have a licensed driver say he's qualified to run. Look at this. We may have some problems with Gene's car, Steve.
The reverser has gone away. The crew alertly out there pushing him back. That should not present any problem for him because they're getting it back very quickly. You know what, Brock? This is the first ever all-Texas Top Fuel final. Pastorini lives in Richmond, Texas. Gene Snow in Fort Worth. And you know, Brock, Pastorini almost didn't come to the Southern Nationals. His racing bank account has a zero balance. They have no parts in the trailer. Donnie Couch quit his job as a truck driver to volunteer his time to wrench on this car. So the prize money here, if Pastorini could win it, could keep him on the road for a few more events.
Well, he's got himself a little bit of a payday no matter what, because the finals do pay off pretty well, but he'd sure like to take home his first ever NHRA title today.
Pastorini in the near lane. Gene Snow in the far lane. It's a shame these grandstands aren't packed to see this. We're glad you're aboard with us, though. You see the front wheel of Snow inching into that beam. Now Pastorini's. This is the final race of the NHRA Southern Nationals. They are off right together, head-to-head. Gene Snow, Dan Pastorini. Who is going to win it? Dan Pastorini's first ever Top Fuel victory. And back at the starting line, an ecstatic crew. Donnie Couch, the man who performed some miracles for Dan in the middle there. Sid Waterman, who handled the fuel injection in the supercharger. I'll tell you what, you think they're happy. I guarantee you that's going to be one thrilled man when he gets out of the car, Brock.
Absolutely right. You know, Snow had a little bit better reaction time, not by much, but from there on in, it was Dan Pastorini driving like a veteran, straight as an arrow, down the racetrack, a 5.56 to Gene Snow's losing 5.64. Didn't win it by much, a full car length, but that's all he needed for his first ever victory.
The teacher and the pupil meet at the far end of the racetrack, but Dan Pastorini today proved he's very much the quick learner. He served notice at the Gator Nationals a few weeks ago, getting to the semifinals, ultimately beaten by Don Garlitz. But today, it was your day, my friend.
I'm telling you, I'm so excited. This is better than winning any Super Bowl. It's better than any experience I've ever had in my life. I'd just like to thank all the people that have helped us out this weekend. I'd like to thank Larry and Glenda Enderle for helping us out financially. John Wallace with the truck registrations, Kendall Oil. My crew chief, Donnie Couch, did a wonderful job. I'm just so happy. I don't know what to say.
Now, that sounds like a lot of sponsors, but you and I both know this is a lean, mean operation.
They just help us out, and they've kept us alive, and I'm very appreciative of it.
5.56.
How about that? How about that?
3. As that brings us now to the finals of Funny Car Eliminator. History is being made here as Eric Reed is the first black driver ever to reach the final round of an NHRA national event in the pro category. He is challenging Mike Dunn, 4-time national event winner. He picked up 2 of those big victories last season, but probably if you were to ask the most prestigious game in 1986, when Mike Dunn drove Joe Pisano's car to victory at the U.S. Nationals. Dunn is pre-staged, Reed creeping forward into the staging beams. When the bottom two lights at the top of the Christmas tree are lit, that indicates to starter Buster Couch they're ready to go. And Eric Reed goes up in smoke. Mike Dunn across the finish line with another victory, 5.60 seconds. His speed, 264 miles an hour, and the Southern Nationals championship proudly in his grasp. It's got to be a proud moment, too, for Eric Reed. What a fine series of performances to get him in the final round. As we look again, you see just what happened. The car went into a wheel stand, smoking the tires at the same time. And Eric Reed had to lift off the throttle and watch his chance for his first ever NHRA victory go down track with Mike Dunn.
A businessman watching this out in California, Ron Tadurin, who's provided enough financial support to get him to this point. All right, low ET in the far round. Mark Oswald appears to have a tremendous advantage over the kid. Let's see what happens. Oswald smokes the tires, gets back after the throttle, and can't catch him. Del Worsham has won the Southern Nationals. And every kid in the grandstands who has dreamed the dream is on the feet applauding their effort. Incredible.
What a tremendous upset. But the 521 low ET in the previous round was obvious, too close to the edge of what the track could hold, and they didn't take enough clutch out of that Oswald car. And there you see it, smoking the tires. Dale Worsham took a slight starting line advantage. They didn't hop the car up. They ran their straight 550. That's all it took to get down to the end of the racetrack. But with the smoking tires on Oswald's car, they only mustered a 574. That wasn't good enough to do it. Dale Worsham was clearly the Southern Nationals winner. Meanwhile, Steve is with him.
Del Worsham has become the youngest driver to ever win a funny car title in the National Hot Rod Association.
Oh, it is unbelievable. This is the greatest day of my life right now.
You were good on the starting line. You anticipated the light nicely. Everything went well for you.
That's great. You know, before the run, Forrest came up and says he can't do it again. Do what you're doing. This one's yours.
Well, yeah, Forrest wanted you to beat him. Tell me about the run. When did you think, I've won this thing?
We just left the line, and I could see him for a second, and we were not very far, and he disappeared, and he wasn't coming by, and I said, oh, it's over. It's ours.
Well, this prize money has found a good home. I know that. You guys run pretty lean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is really going to help us out. We're getting down. We got a new body being mounted, and that's really taking up a lot of our money right now.
Maybe you can order some cheese on your hamburgers from now on.
Oh, for sure.
What a neat young guy.
A win like that certainly gives incentive to the other young drivers.
As good, in fact, a little bit better than Butch Leals. And there's Etta. She knows any time that they race Leal, he is going to try to leave on her husband. Let's see if he can get away with it. Leal last the stage, taking his time, put a little pressure on Glidden. Leal is finally into the beams. They leave right together. Identical reaction times. This is going to be a classic Ford versus General Motors drag race. It is. It appears. Oh, Glidden is upside down. Glidden in big trouble. Oh, this is a bad one, Brock.
It is indeed. Got into that fence. The car continues to flop and roll. It looks as if the roll cage stayed together. There's sheet metal and fiberglass all over the racetrack. The NHRA safety crews instantaneously on the scene. So far, no movement from Bob Glidden, though. Everybody in his place. Etta Glidden being consoled by Warren Johnson's wife, Arlene, obviously very concerned about her husband, there he comes.
Bob Glidden is out of the car. Bob Glidden appears to be as okay as you could possibly be after a horrendous crash. Let's take a look at it again. The parachute is the culprit. The parachute did not come out properly, yanked the car to one side. Thank the Lord Butch Leal was clear of it, or it could have been even worse. Into the rail, upside down, nose first. And now the worst thing that can happen, flipping on top of the guardrail like that. Now this car is the first one that Glidden has ever owned that had a funny car style roll cage, and I got to think that probably saved his life.
You're absolutely right. The car into that fence at around 185 miles an hour, still rolling, 6.5 full rolls. You see all that bodywork coming loose, but you don't see any of the roll cage coming apart. Bodywork, you can lose. Roll cage,
absolutely critical to the survival of this world champion, and it appears at this moment that he is going to be all right. Well, there's the world champion standing tall and straight, being consoled by his oldest son, Billy.
Bob, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, boy. That's a miracle to get out of that one.
All I can do is thank the chassis builder, Jerry Haas. You know, I don't know what happened. I felt the back of the car come up, and it went over, and I just put my arms around my head, and I was just in there riding along.
I hope Etta knows that you're okay.
I'm sure she does by now. I'm waiting for her to get down here. She'll surely be here before long.
Again, glad to see that you're okay. That just happened instantly.
I don't know exactly what happened.
Well, proving once again that these pro stock cars can reach out and fight you at the most uncertain moment. Interestingly enough, it appears that Glidden won that race. But Steve Evans, I don't think there's any possibility of him returning for the final.
Not only that, I don't think there's any possibility that that car will ever race again. It is destroyed. Again, right at the finish line, watch the parachute. It is not out straight and billowed. It pulls him to one side, and this is what happened. As bad a pro stock crash as the sport has ever known. It took 4 or 5 hard impacts on the roll cage. One side of the cage, the passenger side, collapsed, but not the section where Glidden's in, because it's built much like a funny car. He's tucked inside that steel tubing.
A lot of the energy was absorbed when Bob ran into the steel guardrail on the edge of the track. It acted as like a bit of a big rubber band and did absorb energy. There you see the car just flopping over and over down the racetrack, just rolling off kinetic energy, finally to come to a halt in the middle of the racetrack. No fire, and of course the giant crowd now concerned that Glidden gets out all right, which fortunately brought about a happy ending.
Brock, Etta Glidden has just arrived on the scene running to see if her husband is okay.
See, I lied to you, hon? Yeah, we're in good shape. Okay, bud? Oh, yeah.
In some ways, Bob is in better shape than Etta. Few couples more devoted to each other than the Gliddens.